Alright guys, yo, hello, welcome. You got the kids? Bring the kids in. Hey kids, welcome to the best video of your life. This is gonna make you, when you're older, okay? And you go for that job, and you nail that interview, you're gonna think back about how ViBE's Platinum 1 Terran video in Bronze GM 2019 gave you the skills you needed to problem solve each one of those questions you were asked. Don't forget, this is Platinum 1 Terran.
Not enough minerals.
And welcome to the best decision of your life. Okay. So with that being said, we're playing a Zerg, guys. Okay? Good luck, have fun. Good luck, have fun. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be scouting with our first SCV that gets built after the barracks is started. Barracks and first SCV that's built. Now let's also build a gas. Rally our command center to his base.
Not enough minerals.
Rally the command center back to our mineral line as soon as it spawns. Hold shift on the SCV and right click a mineral line just in case we forget about it. Could happen. Sometimes, you know, things happen in the middle of the game and you get distracted. So now this SCV, if we forget about it, it will come back. Yo, Squids, thank you very much for the sub. Welcome to the V fam. Thank you, dude. Okay, let's attack this drone attacking my SCV. Get off my boy. He's just trying to build a building. Get off him. Thanks. Okay, let's go ahead and make a orbital command. Let's make a Reaper. And let's go ahead and get ready to take our natural. Now look at our SCV. It's over here. We stole some of his minerals, which is awesome. But we have a spawning pool. We have a natural early. We got everything's looking pretty good for Zerg here. It's all looking pretty standard.
Command center.
Right, let's battle this drone some more. Get off my lawn! Ugh. So we started a command center, we halted the SCV, and then we attacked the drone and just drilled his brains out. So now we're good. We can build our command center in peace, finally. We're gonna go ahead and take our thingy. We're gonna take our factory. What we're gonna do is we're gonna quickly scout into this guy's base. Okay? And if this guy is still mining lots of gas, let's go ahead and make a factory with the tech lab. And if he's mining barely any gas, let's make a reactor. He's mining 2 gas. Let's make a reactor. I would say 2 drones or 1 drone, we can make a reactor. 3 gas, I would say let's build a tech lab. The reason why I would say that is because if it's 3 drones on that gas, there's a good chance that it could totally be a roach or a baneling timing. Or a nidus worm that's going to tech really fast. But if it's 2 drones or 1 drone, it means it's probably just going to be more oriented with minerals because he's mining less gas than he could be. So he wants to have a little bit more economy to work with. So it's probably going to be something for more like overlord speed or like a standard speed, like a normal timed layer tech. Like it's not going to be rushing things. It's going to be pacing things so he can economy better. Okay, let's run into his base again and look at his economy. We got baneling nest and a roach warren. Okay. That's a investment. Okay. Baneling nest and roach warren.
Not enough minerals.
Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Baneling nest roach warrens, that's no joke. That could be serious. Serious stuff. Let's go to make, because we saw this dude going into multiple forms of tech early, and he still hasn't taken a 3rd base, let's go ahead and make a 2nd tech lab now, instead of a 3rd command center. Because this looks like it might be aggression. It looks like it might be.
Not enough minerals.
And then we can, once we have our factories, and we got a little bit of money extra again, we can go into a third CC then. So we're still going to take the third CC no matter what. It's just we kind of prioritized. We prioritized the whole factory setup first.
Not enough minerals.
So we're just playing it safe, really. Okay, nice.
Not enough.
Now let's go ahead and start our other buildings, our armory and our engineering bay. We're gonna scan his main in a second when we have the energy for it. We'll kind of try and get a read on what's going down in Terran Town or in Zerg Town. Let's also take one Hellion, and since our Reaper died, we're just gonna go confirm and see. Did he take a third, or is he still sitting there on 2 bases?
Not enough minerals.
We want to know. What are you doing?
Not
No third. No third. Okay, yeah, this is scary, dude. Get into his base. We see gas. Lots of lings. Lots of lings. Still on hatchery tech. This isn't all in, guys. We are getting all in. This is 100% all in. So, everything we scouted up to this point has confirmed this even more. We've just fully confirmed that it is an all in. So now if we make some more tanks to be sieged, we should probably be okay.
Not enough
We just gotta keep producing. I would say chances are high that we defend this. And just keep producing. They can also make Hellbats because they have more hit points. Might as well.
Commands additional supply.
Okay. Nice. So, we just discovered the all-in and defended it. And again, we made a logical choice to make a little bit more tanks a little bit faster because we saw something that looked really weird. And we'll talk about it a little bit more again. We'll go into a little bit more detail. I gotta clear my throat. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Additional supply depots required.
But good shit. So against Zerg, we are always, you know, getting our wall as we normally do. That's pretty standard stuff. We always make the wall in our main. The reason why you always make your wall in your main first is because if he 12 fools me and I make my wall down here, it's gonna really be a problem. But if I don't make my wall, or if I do make my wall here and I see with my SCV scout, I'm like, instead of seeing a hatchery, if I see lings passing me because he went for a 12 pull, I can just wall in and we're good. Gecko really wants me to look at a cracked in clip on YouTube, and this is a YouTube family friendly video that I'm trying not to take away the innocence of our youth with. So I'm going to avoid clicking that for now. Gecko. We see we see the spawning pool and we see the gas. Okay.
SCVs are under attack.
Okay, Gecko. Okay, well, I'll click it. I have a guy named Gecko in my stream. Okay, YouTube. There's a guy named Gecko in my stream. He's very supportive. He's a top shelf guy. Okay, but he really is requesting heavily that I watch this video. So we interrupt your current broadcast to bring you ViBE cracked in. I have Coke in the house all the time, as my family that I live with. Some of them love Coke.
Command
Okay,
center, our
back to our
SCVs
scheduled
are
programming. Okay, now talking about scouting. Talking about all right, boys. Oh shit, that's pretty funny. Okay, so now for real. Okay, stop laughing. Okay, it's time to get serious. We gotta learn something right now. So, the big thing you wanna do is you wanna you really want to scout the gas. Okay, it tells you a lot. That's good. That tells you a lot. Oh, chat, you guys are making me laugh. Okay, you really want to scout the gas, okay? And if we see 2 drones or 1 drone on the gas, That could be many things. It could be that could be someone who wants, again, what I said earlier was it's someone who's not prioritizing the gas as hard. And you can tell there's 2 drones on it because there's a delay between when a drone goes in and comes out of the gas. If there was 3, there would always be a drone popping out of the gas as one goes in every time, but there's a little bit of a delay with 2. As you can see, the delay, there's not always a drone doing it. 3 is more obvious. 3 looks like this. Like as soon as one goes out, one goes in every time. That's 3. So it's more obvious to see that. 2 is definitely, you know, this is 2 again. 1, there's always a gap. Anyways. Seeing that there's 2 drones in the gas, okay? That makes us think initially, okay, this guy might not be doing something too aggressive. He might be going for, like, he might not be wanting to go for really heavy gas, so he can go for a faster third. That is very standard for Zerg to play that way, okay? Less gas after you get Zergling speed, because Zergling speed is very safe, but less gas mined after that, so if you kind of tone it back a little bit while you make some drones, that is a very third base indicative thing to do. And then we scout his third, because we're thinking about that. We ran by this one already, and now we just ran by this one. There's no third. Okay, maybe this guy just takes a little bit of a late third, but there's no third. So we chill, just for a sec. Our build so far still has not changed, except for one thing. My initial Reaper Scout, if I would have seen something that looked like, oh god, this guy's actually already got a Roach Warren done, and he's going for like a Roach timing really fast, then sure, I might have made a Tech Lab first instead of a Reactor. Could have made sense because Hellions suck against Roach all-ins. Like really early Roach all-ins. We're talking off of like 20 or like 18 drones or something. So then in Siege Tanks would have been great to deal with the Roach all-in. But he wasn't doing that, as we can see. But then we go scout his base again. I see, if you guys didn't notice what I just did there, look at what we just did. I scouted the gas at his natural, and also I paid attention to the drone count at his natural. And look at this. What do we see? If you guys had to think of a number here, just really quick, a snap. If you were to look at that and look away, what do you think that is? I would say that's probably about half. Again, it could be a ballpark guess. I would say about half. And if you don't know what a mineral line full is, a full mineral line is 16. So half of that is around 8. It doesn't have to be exact, but I would guess about half. And now if we look at our natural, and our natural is, you know, just now done, this does not look like an all-in to us. Zerg should be ahead in workers over us, and seeing this makes us kind of feel like that, because you're like, oh, he's got a lot of drones on his base already, and we are just now getting our natural done. Terran always works like this because we don't have a larva inject, and we also delay SCV production by making orbital commands, and our natural, it goes down later than a hatchery does. So we should be behind in workers, even though funnily enough, we're actually not. But, excuse me. Anyways, it's a point to note though. So we look at this, and even though I see no third, and he kept mining gas, this still is showing me, okay, he's made a decent amount of drones though. That's what it feels like. And the last thing we're looking at is the larva here. He's got a little bit of larva sitting on this hatchery that I can see. It's not all fully spent. And that's another weird sign, okay? That is a weird sign, because think about it like this. This is a way to like if you understand this about the game, this is a lot of information that you can get just from looking at something as simple as this. Why can't this guy spend his larva? Like, it's a genuine question. What is the excuse here for not being able to spend your larva? Because he sucks? Well, that's the thing. If someone sucks and they're just not efficient with what they're doing, then even if you read their build entirely wrong, an efficient build, a efficient build that is doing the wrong thing will beat an inefficient build that is doing the right thing. If that makes sense. Like, for instance, if this guy goes for really inefficient roaches and I go for really efficient Hellions, even though I went Hellions and he went roaches and I should lose because I was efficient and he wasn't, I'll still win. Because I'll just have so much of the shit that I have, even though it's the wrong stuff. So, realistically, you should never think, oh, it's because they suck. I mean, that could be the case, but if that happens to be that, it's just kind of like a nice surprise. You're like, oh, well, this game was actually just easy. Okay, I'm just better than this guy. Cool. But you should be thinking, okay, this guy doesn't have his larva spent, and he's also not going for a third, probably because he's throwing down tech now. That's what would make sense. You should think like, what are you adding into your build cost-wise? Why are you not going for a third? And why are you also not able to spend your larva? That doesn't make any sense. He probably has tech going down in his base. And there you go. There's the cost. There's the reason as to why his larva is so, you know, stagnated. He decided to make a Bane nest and a Roach Warren simultaneously. And then not only does this give us a lot of information here, where he's going for a Roach Warren and Baneling nest before he, like, way before he should have, like, he's doing this really early, is my point. There's no third started at all, and he's going for both of these tech structures. This is huge. This is huge. This is telling me there's a very high chance we're going to get all in already. Normally, what a Zerg will do if they want to macro you is they will make one of these two buildings, and they will combine that with a third base. But we see no layer. We see double tech structures, and we see also stacked up larva. Now look at his main base. Is there stacked up larva here too? Yep. There is. So this, to me, looks like this Zerg is about to just be like, roaches, banes, attack. So yeah, that's this is a lot of signs pointing to we're getting all in. At this point, this feels very all in now. If he's not going to spend his larva and he's teching hard, he's getting advanced power units. It just feels very all in-y. And this all comes from a Reaper Scout. So, seeing that someone is not spinning their larva efficiently and he's saving it and he's also going into power units, this is a great indicator that tells us maybe we should go for a third factory. Instead of just 2 factory command center, we'll go 3 factory command center. And we'll also do a double tech lab, because if the all-in is going to be Baneling, Roach, Zergling, if we have 2 tech labs pumping tanks out and 1 tech lab pumping Hellions out, we can have enough tanks to pop a lot of the Banes and also a lot of the Roaches, while the Hellions just kind of like buy time and kill some of the Zerglings. It just makes sense, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Those simple things we just scouted. Stacking larva is a big deal. It's huge. So then our Reaper actually dies. And then now we have no scout. So now we're kind of blind. But what we're doing is we're still assuming there is aggression coming. But we eventually take one Hellion here in just a minute. And we go to his third base just to confirm. Do you still not have a third? Or do you have a third? And when we confirm he still doesn't have a third. No tech. No layer. And no third. And he's been mining gas the whole time. Okay. And he's also shown us this. Yeah, we're totally getting all in. There's no reason otherwise now. So we grab a Hellion and we send it out probably any second now. I did it like right around now. I did it way later than I thought. But again, we still have the assumption we're getting all in. There's a very high assumption we're getting all in right now. There we go. Now we do it. So now we send our Hellion out. We're making tanks. We're still getting ready to go into Hellbat Thor, because just because he did this the way he did it, it doesn't mean he has to all in me. It means there's a high chance that he will. Up until right now, though. But we're still gonna, like, Thors are still amazing, and we don't need to have like 20 tanks to defend this, or like 15 tanks. We could literally defend this with like 4, maybe 5 tanks, and we're fine. And then Thors could be added in, and Thors are also amazing against Roach Bane if you combine that with siege tanks, and also you have something that can get rid of the Zerglings, which is our Hellions. Like, there's no guarantee he has to use these buildings either. Like, what if he just goes, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cancel both of these when I killed the Reaper, and I'm gonna go really quick 2-base Muta. Like, if we're sitting here just making tanks all day, we could totally die to that as well. So here would be the plan. Okay, this is what we should do. Number 1, scout his third bases. This is what we should do now. This is how we can get the final read on the build. Scout for third base. No third. No third. Now, the next part of this build that is going to be the next read is scout his actual base. If our Hellion dies, we scan. If it doesn't die, we continue to go into his base. And we want to see, what are you making? Are you making units? That's very obvious. Are you still not fully saturated? Do you still not have gas? Do you still not have a layer? Like, if he doesn't have any of these things that develop to a more of a solid macro game, and he has everything that develops to a, I'm going to all in you right now with Roachling Bane, then that's even more of a sign. And that tells us, let's just sit here and absorb it behind our wall with Tank Hellion. And we see, it becomes very clear because we see, oh, look at all these lings that are just like running out of his base. And he still doesn't have a lair. So that's a very obvious all in at this point, right? Like, I just want you guys to know this. Okay, this is where we should be able to tell the game if we're ahead or behind. And this is from the Terran's perspective. Okay, comparing his build to our build. We went for a fucking safe, a very safe third base. This is not a standard third base. We did not go factory, factory, command center. We went factory, 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 command center. So our third is very, very, very safe. Okay? And with our third being safe, we're comparing our third timing to his third timing. And our third is already done. And we're already building SCVs, which means, here in just a second, we have 5 SCVs now on our third base, essentially. Because we're going to transfer the excess. So we already have a done third with 5 workers on it. Now, he doesn't even have one started. So that's a huge deal. Because why am I so far ahead in economy? And on top of that, I even took a delayed third to be safer. And I'm still this far ahead on a third base. That is a big sign that tells us we're way ahead. And the only reason why we're way ahead in economy is probably because this guy's not really making a lot of that. Instead, he's probably making a lot of army. Because I'm going to throw this out there and just say, Zerg should always be ahead of economy over the Terran. Always. Because a Terran can never build workers as fast as Zerg can. It just doesn't work like that. About the only time a Terran should ever be ahead of Zerg on economy, if they're both going for economy, is if I were to have gotten like 4 Hellions in his base and I roasted like 10 drones somehow. I just killed a bunch of drones and I was like, cool. I just killed a lot of workers. Or if I just kept killing Zerglings repeatedly and the Zerg kept making Zerglings because he kept wanting to chase me off creep or something like that. Like if I was killing his larva efficiency by killing his units, then being ahead on workers could make sense. But I haven't done a single thing to him. I've only killed the one drone that was attacking my SCV. This bruiser right here. He got his 1 kill. He's got that drone's neck around his neck on a rope. Okay? So, yeah. Nothing's really happened. I should not be this far ahead. It doesn't make any sense. Other than the fact that he's probably all-inning us. So, all these things is how we discovered this before it actually happened. And there you go. And looking after all said and done, we are still doing a macro build. It is a nice, solid, safe opener, and our supply. We just got blocked because he just killed my wall, but our supply is almost double his now. His worker count is catching up a little bit, but we're still ahead on workers. We are still ahead on workers, and then we're also way ahead on tech. Like he hasn't even started a layer still. So, yeah, like this game is pretty much over. This is gonna be, the Zerg is so far behind now. It's gonna be near impossible for him to not die from this point on if I just do like a, max out on Thor Hellbat and just go kill him. Like there's very, very low chances he can deal with that. So yeah, that's how we read that game, boys. That's how we read that game. Yo, beat a jam, majam. Thanks, ViBE. Yo, Fustup. Thank you very much, man, for the 2-month resub.
I didn't lose a game yesterday. Thanks, man.
You didn't lose a single game yesterday. Stem Junkie Jet. Well done. Holy crap, you're a winning streak monster. We're also playing a diamond player right now. Well done, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Nicely done.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Am I gonna adjust because he's diamond? No, because it's MMR. It's really based off of MMR, and you're gonna be getting plenty of opponents that are gonna be roughly at your MMR. So I'm still playing the same way we've already been playing until we're actually in diamond. Do you use the building grid thing? It's really helpful for walling off. Go for it. I mean, if you want to use it, you totally can. I personally do not. I don't need it. Because you can also see red boxes on it just like that. But if you want to use it, it's an option. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's an option in gameplay options. Go ahead as well, guys. If you want to use it, it's totally fine. It's really just a preference. It is not required, but it's if you want to, you totally can. Okay, we forgot to scout, so we're gonna do that now. There's a good chance my SCV will die.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
Because he'll probably. I'm making a Reaper. He's probably doing the same thing. But it's fine. At least we'll know he's not owning us if he's going for a standard opener.
Bad news. Big job, huh? Yep.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, what are you doing? So we expanded, he didn't. He went for a really fast factory. He's got a gas, and he's got a gas. He's got 2 gases. So this means his expansion's probably not going to be very, very fast. It's going to be very delayed.
Not enough minerals.
So let's go ahead and start our factory. And start a tech lab on it.
Not enough minerals.
What's up, Spaceberry?
All right.
Well, what's up?
On the way, Terran. Man the rear. SCV ready. Go ahead. Man the rear with the
And boom.
Add on.
We're gonna be going 1-1-1. 1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
What's going on?
So normally I like to say, again, we're reacting to what we're scouting.
SCV ready.
Normally I like to say, okay, I like to go double factory here.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
But what are we seeing is the question, right?
Vespene gas.
What we're seeing, okay, hold on, there's a little bit of a pressure going on.
Command center upgrade.
So that's just gonna happen for a little bit. What we're really seeing though is we're seeing a Terran who does not want to expand and instead he wants to do shit like this, like attack me really fast.
Insufficient Vespene.
It's a lot of Reapers, guys. Let's go ahead and pull some SCVs. We don't need to lose this depot wall. Okay, we lost the depot wall. We're just kind of A-moving it right now. Just keep making SCVs. And just keep making SCVs, guys. We're making SCVs the whole time during that.
What's our target?
And look what we see in his base. I see command center. I also see a what looks like potentially banshees and tanks.
Base is under attack.
SCV ready.
So let's run our Reaper away. Just run it home. And we can get ready to go like this then. If this dude's gonna go for what looks like banshees, let's go ahead and start going into first things first. We saw command center, and we also just killed his entire attack with our defense. He lost everything. So this is one reason why we can take a third base. Second thing is, since we saw his natural, we can take a third base. That's gonna be nice.
Not enough energy.
Now we saw his tech. His tech looked like 1-1-1 as well, and he's going into what looks like tank and banshee. So we made a Viking, just in case it might have been like a Liberator or something. But now that it's
Additional supply depots required.
now it looks like that it is going to be Banshee, we can make a Raven with our Viking to deal with that garbage, basically. Okay, it's his Raven. Let's run our SCVs away. Okay, run our SCVs back.
SCV ready.
Additional supply depots required.
Okay, it doesn't really matter. Just keep making SCVs.
SCV ready. Yo. Raven online. What's going on? Lay it on me. SCV ready.
Yo, Mr. Scrambles, thank you very much for the prime. So again, for no one to be confused,
Not enough.
so far this game, all we've done is we've made a few tanks because he was going for some like fast gas heavy stuff. So we skipped Hellions for now. We'll still make them later. And then we went into
Command center upgrade.
because he went for such fast gas and double gas like this. We also went to a starport like he did too. I made a Viking first because I don't know what it's going to be. He chose a tech lab, which makes it look like it might be Banshees. And then now also because he has the ability to potentially make Banshees, we yeah, we have missile turrets. And we're just making SCVs the whole time. Even though we've lost some SCVs here and there, we're still making SCVs the entire time.
Mineral field depleted.
What's going on? SCV ready.
Insufficient Vespene gas. Not enough minerals.
Okay.
Not
And
enough
now we can go into
Ready to blunder.
just going into Thor's for a second here. Let's go ahead and send a Reaper down. Let's go see if he has a third base. We're going to compare again, right? His third to our third. Oh, look, he's attacking us.
SCV ready.
Just siege my tank. It's fine. Our air is kind of just chilling in front. You kind of want to be chilling in front with your air in TVT because you don't want your opponent to gain
complete.
you don't want your opponent to gain air superiority in front of your face when you have
Bad news.
this kind of situation. Like I don't want to just let my tanks get killed out of out of range. Because here's a tip for all Terran players out there that you may or may not know right now. A siege tank can shoot further than it can see. Notice how there's fog there? If I reveal, because look at the little white dot here. That's how far the tank actually can shoot. But I can reveal that fog with a unit, and now suddenly the tank can shoot that far. But if I don't reveal that fog, the tank can shoot only this far, like right there. So vision is huge for a siege tank. Okay, we can start another base. Let's also scan his natural. What's going on? What's going down? Okay, and he's got SCVs going to the third. That's fine.
Upgrade complete.
So it does look like we are both going for mech builds here, which is totally fine.
Ready to raise some hell.
Additional supply depots required. Add-on.
Ready to blunder. Fight or flight. Yeah.
Additional supply depots required.
Okay, he's here. Let's move my army.
Mineral field depleted.
So we're gonna need to lift my command center off. This is
Field depleted.
not good.
SCV ready.
We can try and repair that command center. It worked. Cool.
Our SCVs insufficient Vespene gas. Not enough minerals.
Let's go and take a different base. If someone else gets a tank line set up on you, you really can't do much about it. Like it's kind of how TVT works. So we just kind of like let him have it. Make this new command center we just made go over here. We're just sending the other orbital we had a second ago down this way.
Hellbat coming through.
Let's go ahead and start making a couple of sensor towers so we can see where he goes.
In the rear with the
And let's scan him once. He's still sitting here. So maybe don't go this way.
Our SCVs are under attack. Insufficient Vespene gas.
SCV ready.
Are you still there? Yes, he is. Okay, we can do premature micro in the fight. So here's what we can do. We can scan him one more time, grab my Raven, hold shift, and go like this. Hit my little matrix thing, click, 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 click with shift. Take my Raven out of my group and move my army. Now we're close enough. Let's siege and see what happens.
It's heating up out here.
Cool. We just won the fight. So we did that. We did that before the fight started. We did not do it during the fight. And what that does is it disables his... they nerfed it though. I can only do 2 units at a time now. I used to be able to do 4. I totally forgot about that. But what it does is it allows us to disable his mech units. And now we can take 1 Hellion each. And let's run around the map. Let's go run around the map with 1 Hellion to find out
Add-on.
expansion locations and how many.
Insufficient addition.
This is like a depot ring over here. Just tons of depots. SCVs need to be pulled. Send them to my 3rd. Set up my gases properly. We could even take a new base.
Command center upgrade complete.
Okay, there's a base here. Let's go attack that right now. Get my whole army. Let's go attack it. And the reason why it's not a bad idea to attack right now is because we just killed his army. We can be patient about, instead of just, we don't want an army to be spread out, but we can be patient about how we set up this fight, and if he's not in position, we can set it up and kill this base. So, Hellbat my Hellions and high impact payload my Thors. Scan it once. He doesn't have a whole lot, but look at his army, okay? Look where it is. It's actually moving right there. Let's go to the other way. Let's go over here. Go to the left, and now scan him again. He's not here. Let's move in right now. This is TVT. It's literally just finding the opening. Go ahead and siege our tanks right here, and let's start attacking. And now we're maxed, and money is starting to pile up, so let's make a couple extra factories.
Mineral field.
Transfer some SCVs that are excess. Doesn't have to be perfect. How's it going? Things are going great. Okay. We can siege. Scan up here. What's going on? Nothing. Okay, let's keep going. Can siege our tanks.
Upgrade complete.
Okay.
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
How's it going? It's going pretty well. Attack with everything. Get in there and smash the base. And we can just go over here, you know, make our stuff. But all we're doing is we're trying to avoid fighting him if we can. Like if you can ever just kill their base, you just win. That's TVT. Go into his base. How's it going? It's going pretty well. Just walk into his base really quickly. Just literally walk into his base so my army doesn't get stuck outside for so long. And move his base again. We can take another base. SCV count right now for us is pretty solid overall. We're at yeah, we're actually at 82. I don't need to make more.
Unacceptable command.
Okay, we have a lot of energy. Just drop a bunch of meals on the new base.
Add-on complete.
Sick. Sick. We have a brand new army ready to go. Space is pretty dead.
Beam geyser exhausted.
Grab any SCVs that are excess anywhere we can and send them somewhere fresh
Mineral
like
field
that.
Depleted. Mineral field depleted.
And we could even throw down some more CCs right now because this game, you know, if this game were to somehow not end here, we could have more orbitals to work with now. Yeah, let's grab my new army, make all of them into high impact payload.
Upgrade complete.
All Thor's high impact payload. And we can go attack this way. And he's actually attacking us right now too. So maybe we could just go attack this
Mineral
instead.
field depleted. Upgrade. Mineral field depleted.
Okay, and let's attack his last base that we know of, just right here, because he's running away. Might as well go back to that base.
Research.
Got any extra firepower?
So he's fighting for dear life right now. That's fine. We will try to stop him. We can make another command center. We can make, in this point too, I was about to say, we can make even more factories, like up here or something. It doesn't really matter. Just for more production, just because we're not at like 16 factories. And then at this point, you know, if the game still didn't end here, all we would do is maybe unmorph a couple Hellions, have them quickly check every expansion that I have not seen yet. And look, there you go, is a base in top left. This is what I'm kind of talking about, whereas if the opponent doesn't leave, it's probably because they're trying to like base trade a little bit and they're trying to reset somewhere else. They're trying to reestablish themselves in another location. But yeah, we ended up overall in total with 16 factories at the end of this game. But, okay, so this game's going to require a little bit of explaining. This game was more about decision making and not much about micro. Decision making is huge in TVT, and I really don't like TVT personally. It's because of kind of how this has to be played. I think TVT will stress. Like, I think I can handle TVT, and I think the way we handled this game was perfect. But TVT for a lot of people is going to be high stress in general. And for now, you know, the way we dealt with it this game, I would say, was probably the most ideal way to deal with it if we didn't see where his army was. But scouting in TVT is very, very, very important because positioning in TVT is ridiculously important. Positioning in TVT is everything. It is literally everything. So far in the opener, we saw, again, like I talked about before, we saw he had double gas, guys. Anyone who goes double gas that fast, I'm just gonna let you know right now, that person is not making a command center really fast. We took our second gas like just now. We've only mined 50 gas off of our second gas. He mined about 300 off of one and like 250 off of the other. So yeah, like he's definitely been mining double gas for a very long time. So he has, and you can see it, right? You can see the difference. In units tab, I have one Reaper. He's got 2 Hellions and 3 Reapers. He's also got a starport. I do not have a starport. It's starting. My starport is just starting. He is just starting his command center. My command center is already about to be an orbital command, so that's the trade-off. That's what the extra gas did for him, and this is what the delayed gas did for me because it allowed me to fully saturate my mineral line longer so I could have more money to work with. Our Reaper kind of runs by this and sees, oh, okay, we're getting attacked by a lot of garbage. Our Reaper can't really do much here. If we would have attacked this army with our Reaper, all that would have happened is my Reaper would have just died. And I would not have killed anything. I probably would have shot his Reaper like 2 times. All 4 of his units would have shot my Reaper like 2 times, and my Reaper would have died. And then his Reaper would just like regenerate back to full. That is what would have happened if I would have attacked him here. So we decided just to kind of like let it be. And I went over to his base instead to scout and kind of see what's going on. Like, is this guy just going to fully commit to an all-in now, or what is he doing? I don't need to scout too hard with this. I just kind of clicked into his base with his Reaper and called it a day. It'll see, like, whenever I get a chance to look at this, I can look at it because we are dealing with this right now. This is important. This does take priority. We are still making SCVs though. We should be. There you go. I stopped for just a split second, but we are still making SCVs, and so even though we lose SCVs, it is a little bit painful, but it's okay because here's why. His natural, we scouted that his natural was starting when our orbital on our natural was almost done. So if we lose SCVs, we are going to still have recovery time where I can now have double mules and double SCV unit producing structures, 2 command centers, catching me back up really fast. So even, again, we'll look at this all said and done. Even though I just lost 9 SCVs, and right now I'm actually behind by 1 SCV. Would you guys expect that? I just lost 9 workers and we're basically tied. So it's okay that I just lost workers there because I went for economy, and if I could have defended my economy and lost barely anything, it would have been amazing. But because I took so much damage right there, for us, we go, okay, we took some damage. It wasn't game-ending damage, but it was damage we just took. But as long as, you know, we stick to the plan, which was we're making economy, we'll be fine. And that should mean that we're going to pass him in workers again. which we just did. Because look at his natural. It's still not done. It just now finished. So again, our Reaper also just saw that. We see a command, his natural just finished. And this is again where we can compare. This is how we can tell if we're ahead or behind. We know this dude pretty much has a fully saturated natural. We know we pretty much have a fully saturated natural. We both have saturated, main base is what I meant to say. We both know we're on a fully saturated main base. That is very apparent. But we can compare his natural to our natural, and our natural is already on 3 SCVs, and it already is an orbital. His natural is on no SCVs, and it is a standard command center. It's not upgraded yet. So once again, that should tell us, okay, yeah, we cleaned up everything over here on our base, and we're not still getting attacked. We're fine. We should know we're fine. Because in terms of who's ahead or behind in this game, we should know we're ahead because of that. Because we're comparing his natural to ours. And ours looks more progressed. And speeding it up a little bit more. The Raven comes in and drops a nice little auto turret. The nice thing is that he does end up losing the Raven. But again, all said and done, we just lost another 6 SCVs to this Raven. So now, if I was none the wiser, okay, and I was like, well, I know that I had a little bit of a lead with his natural that I just saw a minute ago with my natural. At this point now, I would say there's a very realistic chance that we could have just, this attack he did with the Raven could have just evened the game out. It wasn't irreparable damage. It wasn't like, oh my god, this Raven just did so much, we're dead. Because he also invested into that Raven. He made it. He sacrificed it. It is literally dead now. So he traded a Raven, which is 100 minerals, and 200 gas for 6 SCVs, which is just 300 minerals. But the only real thing that he gets, like, and so in terms of just resources, it's like an equal trade just for number. But the thing he also gets that it's a little bit better than us is he made us lose mining time for probably like 10 seconds, I would say. So that's also a little annoying. But yeah, overall, I would say the game is, if I had to guess and I was looking at it from my perspective, I would say game is probably almost even. And that's assuming we both have solid macro with our builds. His was tech heavy, mine was CC first, or CC early. But here's the thing, okay? This is where the difference once again kind of takes place. We started the 3rd CC because we killed his push and we saw his natural, which meant we're fine. He threw away an army and he also expanded. We can totally expand again and not get punished for that. On top of that, he just lost his Raven. So he lost even more army again. He's resetting himself again further, which is nice. It makes me feel even more comfortable with the fact that I took my 3rd CC. So that's a good feeling. What happens if you would lose the Viking? You just gotta make another one. I make multiple Vikings, just so you know. I do make another Viking after this one anyways. And then we were gonna grab our Reaper and we were gonna go scout and see when his 3rd base was about to be set up. Like we kinda, once our 3rd's like, you know, going, we really wanted to kind of get tabs on his 3rd. So the Reaper could once again go scout that for us. Which I'll do in just a second here. But now we are making SCVs off of three command centers. And we're chilling. And we chilling, guys. We're fully saturated pretty much on 2 bases now. And we're going into, you know, the standard Terran build now, which is, this time we switched it only because he had the ability to go for a Raven. Or sorry, Raven's the minor one. He had the ability to go for a battlecruiser or to go for a Banshee. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you go for a Raven defensively against that, it's amazing. Because if he goes for a BC and we use interference matrix, the BC can't attack. And we can have Viking Raven just smacking a BC while he can't attack back. And then if he goes for a Banshee, a Viking flies faster than a Banshee does when a Banshee does not have a speed upgrade. So we could literally just A-move towards the Banshee with Viking Raven and we could see it and kill it with detection. That is why we did this. The scary things this could do that a tech lab unlocks is, again, a Banshee and a BC and a Raven and Viking counter both of those. For like an opener harass. Then we were actually going to go scout him, but he just killed a Reaper with his little push. And now this is the part about TVT that is kind of frustrating, kind of more difficult to play, and it is scouting and knowing where your opponent is and not getting caught out of position. So right now, what I would say is if we were to have played this properly, what we probably should have done is I probably should have placed my tanks over here, like maybe in front of this command center, like right there near the green box, so I could have covered this ramp. And the other tanks on the high ground over here should have been moved to like maybe like right there and like right there. So I could have also guarded my third base. We allowed ourselves to get set up on where he went around. He avoided where I was and went somewhere I wasn't, which is exactly what we do to him in a minute. And he sets up on my base over here, and we're like, well, shit, we're out of position, so that's going to be hard to deal with now. Our money is a little bit high.
Upgrade complete.
And again, this is another example of build order isn't the biggest of deals. What happened when our money was high? We expanded our production. Like obviously we could have expanded our production a little bit faster, but we expanded our production. Would sensor towers help with this? Yes, sensor towers would help with this. If we had one general rule which we'll start following is when you take your third base with Terran, it's usually a good idea to put a sensor tower like right. It would be like right here would be perfect, because I could see all the way over to like right here, and see if he was going to come up this area, and I could also see if he's going to come over here as well and come down this ramp this way. And if we also have the properly placed tanks defensively, then all we got to do is just walk our Thor Hellbat over to help whatever side needs help.
Additional supply depots required.
And you can see he sets up on us. There's not a lot we can do right now. This base is it's set up on, guys. Walking into tanks is really scary. So, you know, we decide, you know what? Let's not actually take this fight. Our tanks aren't even in position anyways. Let's just lift this off and run the SCVs away. And if we can, save the base if we can. But if we can't, then it will die. And we actually do manage to save the base, barely. We repair it. ViBE even loves the plebs. I do love the plebs. Guys, yeah, I'm making YouTube videos and explanations about how to play StarCraft. So I'm not going to read every comment in chat. But then he sets up on us again. And this one, you know, once again, try to save the CC if we can. That's the idea. And we can see he doesn't want to move, which is also why we just decided to rotate our initial third base. We decided to rotate it down here because I wasn't sure if he was going to move, but he decided to not move. So this was a great idea. This allowed us to not, I don't want to have all 19 of these SCVs just sitting on this base and having an way oversaturated mineral line. And I also don't want this command center just to be sitting in the air floating forever. We just made a quick choice and we're like, okay, go to another open base. It's fine. And we sensor towered it, which is exactly what we should have done to our last third base. And now we can at least see if he pushes my third over here. If he rotates his army down this way, I could see that coming. If he rotates down this way, I could see that coming. So it gives us a second to react. Yo, Najax, thank you very much, dude, for the 13 months. Welcome back. Welcome back. But now, we scanned him, and we also saw he's not moving his army. So we're like, okay. This is micro, I will say, that is acceptable in Platinum. And it is pre-fight micro. And all we're doing, this is all we're doing. We are scanning him. We are setting up a couple of interference matrix. Like we hit the ability, we hit shift, and we click a couple of tanks. We then A-move our army behind the Raven. And again, to make this very clear, you guys have to micro it this way. The way it works is I click the Raven. I tell it to do the interference matrix. I then hit select all army. I have to shift click out the Raven. And then I say A-move. Because if I select all army and I A-move everything, it's going to reissue the commands of saying double interference matrix to tanks to back to now A-move this area. And it wipes my previous commands. So if you were to select all army, you would have to then re-interference matrix 2 tanks. But the reason why we do it first is so that my tanks don't get shot by it as we run in. It's timing. We just go, Raven, do it, select army, shift out the Raven, go. It allows our Raven to have a little bit of a lead so that you'll see the Raven moves first. The Raven will move first, and then our army goes behind it. Watch the Raven, right here. Raven goes first, we do it, and then our army goes right behind it. That's how the timing kind of goes. And now the 2 tanks, like look at the siege range. I am about to step foot in the siege range right now. Like I am literally driving in a siege tank, his siege tank range right this second right now. And 2 of his tanks get disabled right as this happens. So now even though other tanks are still in siege mode, we at least reduce some of the damage we're going to be absorbing right away, which increases our odds to win. It increases the odds. What's the hotkey for interference matrix? It's C by default. And now the last thing we do is we A move his army. Once we get in range of him, we just siege our tanks. We just literally go tank siege. We don't micro anything beyond this. We micro nothing beyond this. We just let our army do what it's going to do. And we go back to macroing, building gases, building depots, building add-ons, building units. This kind of stuff. And our army, and then, you know, going back to it again, looking at it, our army does well in this fight. And there you go. We wiped them out. That's nice. And now, because we didn't waste a lot of time fixing our economy, we're still holding a nice lead here. And we're getting a lot of minerals too, which is why we're making more reactors on these factories, just to really ramp up our Hellion production. But things are going well. The biggest reason why I would say we're still ahead is because we've been making SCVs the whole time. The whole time we've been making SCVs. So we can see, even though we've lost 24 SCVs, he's only lost 2. It's still 73 SCVs for us versus 56 for him. That's the power of macro. This is a diamond player. Just throwing that out there. I am not really I did do a pre-fight micro there with a Raven, but this is not intense. This is not like I'm doing crazy shit. This is just macro. StarCraft is literally just mostly a macro game. And we can see we found his new base. We were at the stage now where we're very close to maxing out, and our SCV count is looking solid. We're at that stage now. And also the other thing too is we just killed an army, which if we know, okay, here's 2 things to explain this in a very easy way where I'm not going to make it sound confusing. We're in the stage now where we want to find his expansions, and we want to do one final check of economy. We just saw his 4th base with our Hellion. And we see a bunch of mules and no SCVs, guys. That's a good sign. You know why? You want to know why that's a good sign? Because this is his 4th base. We have one of those too. That's our 4th base. Our 4th base is looking good. This is our other potential, I guess you could say, this was our 3rd base, but I guess now it could be considered our 4th base because we had to rotate. But even this is our least saturated base, and we're fully saturated on both gases, and we have 11 SCVs on the mineral line already. We have an amazing lead right now in terms of production and economy. And what's also already, it already is what it is. His is still starting to transform. So that's another timer that we're ahead. We have leads in economy. We've confirmed this again just now. And we also reconfirmed that we're ahead in army size, because not only does economy dictate who's ahead in army if you're both playing efficiently, but we just killed an army up here, so that even more further instigates the fact that we're further ahead. Like, killing his army plus being ahead in economy, that means we're definitely in a good spot. So, seeing this is a great time to go take a timing now. It's a great time. We have a lead, we can capitalize. We're very close to maxing, too. But we should know, for those reasons, that we have a lead. And we scan, we see where his army is. We saw he was going over here. So, what do? We have two choices. We could just run into him right away and try to take the fight with his army. Or, since we're already on his side of the map, we could run by him and go for his base. I'm just going to let you guys know right now. In my opinion, for simple Terran logic, there are two ways to take the fight against somebody. And the way that this gets dictated is it's map location based. If you are on your opponent's side of the map, it is almost always better to attack his base rather than his army, because if he is still on his side of the map as well, he will come to you and he will be fighting you while you're killing his base, and his army will get inefficient trades if you get a good setup. However, if you go for his army, there is no guarantee you're going to get a good trade there, because either one of you could set up faster than the other. Like if he sieges his tanks first, or if I siege my tanks first, whoever runs into tanks is usually going to be the one who will most likely lose those fights. The only difference is, you know, if you have Raven mitigation with that, like we did earlier, or if you just have overwhelming supply, that could also turn the tide. But my point is we're going to fight his army either way if we're on his side of the map, but why not get a bonus by also fucking his base up at the same time? So if I'm going to fight him, I would much rather, instead of fighting right here, I would much rather fight him right here, because right here, if he takes too long to set up a fight, suddenly I kill a bunch of SCVs. I kill a bunch of production. I kill a base. Like, we start doing serious crippling damage to him because of where we decided to set this up. Now, if your opponent is on your side of the map, let's just say he's on my side of the map and I'm trying to defend, then obviously I should charge his army then, and I should try to zone him away from my bases. I want to get the setup on him before he gets the setup on my base. Like, I just, like, play defender. I just get in the way of my buildings and his army. I always get in the way. So, that is kind of the idea. Or you just base trade? Yeah, well, the thing is, here's the thing, though. Base trade doesn't make sense if you're on your side of the map. If this guy was in a position where I'm already on his side of the map, and he's already on, he is still on his side of the map, and I set up right here, and his army is standing right here, and he goes, all right, screw it, let's go for a base trade. That's not a great idea. I mean, it's an idea that some people will have, but that means you've already made a massive mistake, because by the time I kill his entire third, he will still not be attacking my base. He'll be walking across the map. And then by the time he sets up on my base over here, his base will be dead entirely, and I'll be moving my army to another base as well. So I just get a free kill on a base then, which is not a good way to start a base trade. It increases the chances you're going to lose. But he's chilling right here, so he gets caught out of position. And this sucks really bad for the guy who's, again, defending. Because the second we set up, guys, it's really hard to engage. This is just TVT. It's really hard to engage now for him to be like, all right, I need to move into this. Because if he does, he's going to take some major damage as the fight begins. And then we just move away from him again. Why do I need to take this fight? I don't care. It doesn't matter. I can pull him to me. I can always pull him to me with, while he's on defense. I can just be like, oh, just keep killing your base. And again, we're not really microing, we're just literally A-moving his base. We siege our tanks and we just kind of like let it happen. We let whatever happens, happens, and what our real goal is we're making more factories. We're keeping our expansions going. We're making more command centers here pretty soon. And we're just, you know, we're just making, we're remaxing over and over with production. We're just keeping the build flowing. And now at this point, our army has killed his bases all the way to the main. What this has done is this has completely reset the Terran's production. We've killed like all of his supply depots. We've killed all of his factories, all of his barracks. We're about to kill his starports. His upgrade buildings are going to die. His tech has been reset. Everything's dead. The only thing we know he has is like he's got the planetary we know about over here. And he might have a couple other command centers somewhere else, but this is some irreparable damage that has been done to him. Yo, Core, what's up, man? Thank you very much for the gifted sub. It's a haul easy. Oh, shit. I haven't been looking at my chat, but yo, haul easy, if you're here, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Oh, you are here. What's up? How you doing? Hey. Good stream last night. Your stream is very good. I like it. It's nice. It's chill. But yeah, now it's just like a process of like discovering where he is and just killing whatever's left. Just kill the remnants. Killing the remnants, guys. And then it's over. And then it's done. Now there's a couple ways before we end this and like go to the next one. There's a couple ways you can talk about it and be like, well, ViBE, what if you made like liberators, or what if you did this, or what if you did that? It really comes down to like you can see something like that and you can make ideas to be like, okay, I need to do this or that to counter what he's doing. But at the end of the day, as long as you're just making something, you're just macroing, your chances go up, because as long as you just have an efficient build, your chances are decent. But going into early tanks with like, again, on this game, the only thing we really cared about was like the first 2 minutes of the game, or more like maybe like 3 minutes, which was, oh, he's going 1-1-1 double gas. So we decided to go for a starport as well, and we got a Raven just like he did, in case he would have done something bigger than that. And then after that, we were making tanks with it too. But after that, we just literally went back into Hellbat Thor. I did not change my composition at all, and we were fine. If we did struggle with stuff, and we were like, well, Hellbat Thor's not working, man. It's not working. Well, we could, see what he has and maybe react accordingly. You could do things like Siege Tank Liberator Viking. You could do that's a really good one, honestly. You could do instead of making Thors, you could go just more tanks and more Viking, like Viking Hellbat tank. So I don't know, there's a lot of options, but it's not the biggest of deals. It's not the hugest of deals. It's something you shouldn't really think about too much. Like the Thors get the job done either way. The only time I would have not really wanted to stay on mass Thors is if he had mass tanks. That's about it. If he doesn't have mass tanks, Thors are great. Because Thors can beat air units all day now, especially with this high impact payload attack upgrade that they have ever since they got buffed even more. Do I use Cyclones anymore? I will, but not yet. I'll use Cyclones in Diamond when we start actually microing. Ravens countering the siege tank line will change my TVT life. Yeah, no, seriously. Throwing out a couple of disables on tanks and then you go. Your army just lasts longer as you engage, because then you no longer have to worry as much about like that initial engagement, and all your stuff just dies repeatedly. It's a good. All right, boys, you ready? Here's the next game. You ready for the next game? This guy's a Protoss. Dad? Yo, what's up? B-Van? Hi. Diamond will be Hellion Cyclone Battle Mech? I mean, it could be. I probably will do some of it, yeah. But I don't know if I'm going to do that every game, though. But I'll probably do some of it, though, for sure.
Additional supply depots required.
Watch out, you're playing Danny DeVito.
SCV ready.
What if it's the penguin from Gotham?
In the rear with the geek. SCV ready.
That was actually a good show. I liked Gotham. Feels ignored, man. Hi. Guys, I can't read all of chat. And you gave me a paragraph. This is a YouTube video, but guess what? This guy's... I got a... Yo, YouTube. I have a guy who's drunk right now, who's a sub of mine, who wants some love for a second. So let me go ahead and read his drunk paragraph, and let's see how it goes. Hey, ViBE. I'm a bit drunk. I love the community you created, and it's a bright spot of my day when I get to see you stream, even though I'm from EU and I have to say, I'm up late to see you. You make my day, you make my sad days better, which I've found to be hard to do on my own. I got you, man. I love you, dude. Happy drinking. Don't drink too much. Drink some water before you go to bed. I'm not ignoring you on purpose. It's just, yeah.
Command center upgrade.
If I read everything in chat, I will never be able to explain anything about the game. But I love you, man.
Not enough.
And thank you for sharing that wholesome comment. Okay, let's go to this guy's base with the Reaper, and let's find out what's going on. At the very least, we know he's gone to an expansion. Yo, Rai, 1977. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub, Ola. Am I going to do Protoss today? Maybe. It depends how long this takes. Because yesterday it took 6 hours to get through Zerg. And if it takes 6 hours to get through Terran, probably not. It's too much in one day to do like that twice.
Add-on complete.
SCV ready.
Okay. So our Reaper got zoned out by a Stalker. We'll send it back. I have SCVs somehow rallied down there.
Go ahead.
Okay, Reaper try and get into his base again, see what we can see.
I'm listening.
Yo, it's a Stalker again. Oh god. It's 2 Stalkers. It's a Robo. It's that. This could be a blink timing. This could be a charge timing. This could be any type of a gateway timing with a warp prism, is what that means.
In the rear with the geek.
So since we see someone who's going for... This build looks like aggression, guys. It looks like aggression. So instead of going for a really fast 3rd command center, let's go for a faster 3rd factory just like last time.
Insufficient.
SCV ready.
I mean, we'll still make the 3rd CC, but we're gonna just play it safe.
Minerals. Insufficient Vespene gas.
SCV ready.
Okay, we're gonna make a reactor on the
Vespene gas.
barracks. So all we're doing right now, guys, is we're gonna do the tank Hellion opening like we normally do, and we'll go into armory, engineering bay, turrets, that whole thing. We can do it honestly like right about now. And then now, I would say now we can probably squeeze in a 3rd command center and not really have to worry too much. Yeah, let's go ahead and make an engineering bay.
Add-on complete.
Let's turn this bad boy into the
Add-on
thingy over here, the reactor. And let's leave our barracks like on the side to see if a prism comes in the side of my main.
Look out, Shoddy. You're being microaggressed.
Look out, Shoddy.
minerals.
Yo,
Not enough minerals.
dude, hella bacon. I didn't know you had such sick flow, bro.
SCV ready.
Oh my god. Appreciate those styling bits you just threw at me. Okay, let's make a detection.
SCV ready.
And let's put a 3rd turret kind of like up here a little bit.
SCV ready. I can't build here.
And now what we can do to further scout this out is we can also we need to make an armory now. We need to start getting ready to go into Thor's. Let's take a Hellion, guys, and let's also go scout his base. His 3rd base. Oh wait, just kidding. Look, boys. It's aggression. Just spread my tanks out a little bit. Okay, move 1 tank forward. We're keeping our tanks inside range of other tanks.
Add-on.
So they're never just like exposed by themselves. So if he ever wants to kill a tank, he's going to take serious damage for it. And there you go. That was a pretty decent trade, I would say. I don't feel bad about that at all. And we still made SCVs the whole time. We can start a... Now that he lost that base, we can start another... Or lost that army, we can start another base of our own. Another command center, because why not? It's now like a economy window, basically.
Not
And we can
enough
send a couple, like
minerals.
just one Hellion down, like we were going to do before. And let's just go see if he has a third base.
Not enough minerals.
We can repair this barracks too, so we don't lose the ability to make
Upgrade
factories.
Complete.
And now we're going into Thor's. Thor's, boys! Thor's. Thorola. I'm just going to throw it out there. We've talked about this before, but anytime you see a Protoss rush this building first, it's very likely they're going to attack you. Okay, he's got a third base. He has a lot of saturation at it. So, I would say we're roughly pretty close. I don't think we're ahead, or I don't think we're behind, but I would say we're pretty close.
Mineral
Because
field
he has what looked
depleted.
like almost a fully saturated mineral line, but that's what we're about to have too. As long as we just send it over there. So game is looking pretty close, I would say.
What's going on?
Not enough minerals. Not enough additional.
Okay, let's go ahead and get a sensor tower. And let's drop some SCVs off this mineral line and go send them over here. We can even take this base, make it a planetary. But our economy looks good. Make some depots. And let's make a turret here too, because he had an observer that showed him to blink into my main. So let's move my army, kind of like space it out a little bit. We can put a couple tanks at my base over here. And we can put a couple tanks at my base over here. These are the exposed parts of my base right now. And we can leave my Thor Hellbat in the center of all of it. Put my Hellions in Hellbat mode, my Thor's in high impact payload. And now we're getting a lot of money. So let's increase factory count by like 5. Just add on some factories. And just keep saturating the bases, boys.
Yep. Hellbat coming through. Can't build. SCV ready. What's going on? Ah, this bad news. Ah. SCV ready.
Mineral field depleted.
We can make some depots here, why not? Just to like reduce like area that he can attack me from.
Rear with the gear.
Additional insufficient Vespene gas.
Okay, let's make one more Hellion, go out and around.
Command
Let's go check for a 4th base.
upgrade complete.
SCV ready.
Mineral field additional supply. Mineral field depleted.
Worker count is at 80. We're good on that. No base.
Mineral field
SCV ready.
add-on complete. Additional supply.
SCV ready.
4 SCVs are extra here. Send them down here. Do something with them. Saturation wise, 2 SCVs are extra here now.
I'm in a heap of trouble.
Take them to the base over here. It's fine.
We hear you.
Or we can just send that one actually. Make it
Add-on
there.
complete.
Send this there. Make a new base. So my Hellion died. I didn't get to see anything really.
Mineral
Just
field
make another one. Do the same thing. Try and get a read. Let's scan like right in the middle of his base. Maybe his army's going to be in the center. We see a robo, but we don't see his army.
Where's the hot action?
And this guy's spacing pylons out, so he's going to be very aware of where I go.
I'm in a
Okay, there we go. Now, okay, let's see all these cannons? Scan his
Upgrade
main.
complete.
Thor is here.
Yeah, I was going to say, those cannons kind of represent the potential of a tech switch change. That's a lot of cannons. Like, it doesn't guarantee that. But whenever someone makes tons and tons of static D, it means they're probably going to be diversifying themselves because they're no longer going for a timing. Now, I have taught you guys to make static D before you move out. A lot of time. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold that thought. We're getting attacked right now. Keep making army while this is happening. Look at my supply.
Not enough minerals.
We don't give a shit.
Not enough.
Because we're macroing while it's happening. We're not just staring at it being like, I hope I win. We're going, if I don't win, it's okay because we're still maxed. Anyways. And then now we can unsiege my tanks and let's just go for it. Let's actually go for it.
Research complete.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, and we can make a couple of command centers while we're at it.
Command center
Why not? A couple extra orbitals. We can afford it. And what's my factory count look like? Let's make like 3 more.
Mineral field depleted.
Let's go hit his new base. The base we know about. Let's hit this base. Scan ahead. There he is. Because we never want to go in blindly. We want to always scan ahead. So now the second he moves, or the second we get close enough, we siege. And now call it a day. That's whatever is going to happen there is going to happen. And now we want to macro during that. So again, our goal is to like kind of maintain max as much as possible,
Upgrade.
as close as we can get to
Mineral
that.
field depleted.
We could even make a few more factories over here.
Yeah, whatever.
And look, we're doing great. Good job, army. Fucking well done.
Hell that.
Command center upgrade complete.
Yeah, whatever. Bad news.
So this base died. Unsiege my tanks. Oh look, there's another base over here. Cool. I was gonna say we should check just for bases around where this is. We can siege our tanks again because we're close to his base again, and he might come from this angle too. You never know. Scan his base one more time. He does look like he's switching into air now. This looks like Tempest. That looks like Tempest to me. Yes, it is. So make sure you're in high impact payload. You need to be in high impact payload for this.
Command center upgrade
You will
complete.
destroy Tempest in high impact payload. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Acceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
Okay, SCV count is still good, but are we efficient with it? Grab a couple orbitals there.
Research complete.
This base
Add-on
needs to be
complete.
rotated. Main base needs to be rotated. Natural, good. Third base, yeah, every other base is good. We can drop some mules on this new base
Not enough.
and just
Mineral
regroup
field
regroup my army.
Here we go.
And let's get ready to attack him again.
Hot footing out there.
depleted. Add-on
Kill these rocks because
complete.
it's kind of in my way.
Done and done.
Command center upgrade.
Look at the DPS of Thors. It's so nuts. Things are beasts.
In motion.
All right, let's go here. Next. Let's just hit the other side. We're going to hit the opposite side of bases. We're still only looking to kill expansions, not to go into the heart of Protoss's base. And we re-established a high-impact payload on all of our Thors. Oh, look, there he is. We're moving it. It's this army doesn't look that scary. Doesn't look that big. Just keep macroing during the fight. Stay maxed out. Let's get another base set up over here for another planetary.
Gotcha.
And we could even set up another sensor tower over here. This is coming down. It's not. So what's happening right now is not about composition. It's about quantity of shit.
Hell that. Coming through.
He's losing these fights because he just doesn't have enough.
Done and done.
The first fight, I would say he did have enough, but we had tanks against mostly Stalker, so that was fine.
Go.
We had like 4 tanks in the back versus a mostly Stalker army with like 5 Immortals. But now,
Word.
we're maxed out repeatedly fighting a Protoss who's probably around like 130, 140, because he took a big loss, and now we keep killing it, and because of the big loss he took, he keeps losing economy, so he's never able to max. This is how you keep crippling your opponent, and you just constantly, you don't lose the win, basically. If they can't mine, they can't ever produce what you can. And then eventually you'll push them into a corner where all their bases are dead. And you're just like, alright, and now kill your main base, because it doesn't matter if he has tech if he can't afford to build anything out of it. It doesn't matter, man. Do you read Atomic Habits to prep for this Bronze to GM? It's all natural, dude. I just meditate. I've never actually meditated for real. I don't want you guys to think I actually do that. I've never actually meditated. I've sat there and just like chilled out, but I've never actually like done the full like what you think of as meditation. Ah, delicious. Good old Gatorade. That's the same one I was drinking yesterday because I don't know. I can't drink an entire Gatorade in one day. It's a lot. All right, boys. Guess what? We're scouting, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. The big thing we care about, we want to see is tech, obviously. We don't see anything right now. We see a standard Protoss with our SCV. We saw a Cybercore. We saw a second gas. This is super standard. We know he's expanded. I want to get into his base, but I also don't want to let my Reaper die. So for now, we'll come back and do it again in just a minute. We will come back and do it again. And it's coming back right now. But now, you see, it's okay if my Reaper gets shot by the Stalker now, because it takes 5 hits to kill a Reaper. So if I can make distance from the Stalker and be like, cool, I took a couple hits, but now I can get into his base, I don't mind if it dies then. But I don't want to lose it. Like, I don't want to have it be already low and then have it just die when I'm trying to backtrack places that I've gone. It's like playing Snake, okay? You don't want to go back where you came from and then it's over. You want to go somewhere new, okay? You want to go somewhere new, guys. Because, again, if I would have, if my Reaper would have, when my Reaper was like this amount of health and my Reaper was like right here and the Stalker was like right there, the last thing I want to do is run past the Stalker again because I will probably die before I get to see anything. So being patient, running out of his base, letting it regen back to full, and then having full health when I want to pass the Stalker allows me to actually successfully do that. So that now I can see this. And this is huge. This is massive. Seeing this right here is massive because it tells me this is a Twilight Council and this is a Robo. And the reason why this is important and why this makes a lot of sense and why this is like a big thing to see is because you can also tell which one was built first. Because if we look at the build times of a Robo, it's 46 seconds. If we look at the build time of a Twilight Council, it's 36 seconds. You can clearly tell these were not built at the same time. You can tell that the Twilight Council was built before the Robo. So what this means is what you should be expecting out of this Robo. And we've talked about this before. If you ever see a Robo after the Twilight Council, it means that it's very high chance this is going to be building a Warp Prism and Observers, not Immortals at first. Doesn't mean that's how it's going to be all game. It does, however, mean that this is going to most likely be to... This Robo now is designed to support some type of gateway pressure. It could be DTs, it could be Blink Stalkers, it could be Adepts with Glaives, it could be Charge Lots. I will just say against Terran, Adepts with Glaives is uncommon, and that's the only one I would say is uncommon. That's way more common against Zerg. But against Terran, Blink Stalkers is common. Against Terran, Charge Lots is common. DTs can also be kind of common. DTs can just like end the game if you don't have proper detection. So yeah, that's kind of what we're expecting. We're expecting every possibility out of this gateway, except like there's not going to be a sentry timing because it's too much gas. But we are expecting anything else. We're expecting any type of a DT, Zealot, Stalker, or yeah, that's pretty much it. DT, Zealots, and Stalkers. That's what we're expecting. One of those things. Again, Adepts aren't really as good against Terran, so most Protosses don't really do Adept timings, even though it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's just uncommon. Sentries require a lot of gas, and Sentries also require you to be supporting power units, and if you're going to make power units, most likely what's going to happen is this building wouldn't exist, and you would be making Immortals instead, or something like that, to go for like a Sentry Immortal timing, which means if you're going to make units out of the Robo that are actually DPS units, Robo's going to get made first, because you want to make them as soon as possible, and it's going to be your primary thing. This is so much gas. This means we can't really afford to make Immortals that well right now. And yeah, the High Templar, no, unrealistic. It's not going to happen. He's not going to go for a Storm timing. That's very unrealistic. It's way too much gas. That's out of the realm of possibilities right now. It's not happening. So, anyways, what grand scheme of things, okay? If I just confused you with how much shit we just said, just know Twilight Council first is a sign that a Protoss could totally attack you, especially if he pairs it with a Robo after. That is a definite sign that you might get attacked. Chances are high.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Another great thing to do to confirm if we were going to get attacked or not is you could go scout the third base. If we had an SCV, or if our Reaper was not dead yet, or if you just had an SCV get pulled off the middle line again and you just wanted to scout, did he take a third? If a Protoss had a third base going down right now, like really fast, after this, that might mean that he wants to go for like Zealots and a third, or Blink Stalkers and defend his third base and just stay on like one gateway while he goes for a third base, or maybe 2 gates while he goes for a third base. That could totally be the case. But if he delays his third for a while after you scout that, every minute that goes by that he delays that, it's more likely you're going to get attacked. That's another way to read this too. So, but again, it's not. It doesn't have to be an all-in. It could just be harassment. We just know the possibilities there is all it is. So that's also why we're making turrets. We make 1 turret for the front. We make 1 turret in the middle line and 1 turret in the middle line. Now look, we're getting attacked, and we made tanks for this and Hellions, which is great. It's fine. But now all we do is we're leapfrogging our tanks. We're just putting our tanks. We're not just running at him and then sieging. What we're doing is we're making a tank siege in the range where if a stalker were to shoot my tank, the tank in the back would shoot the stalker, but the tank in the front can still now expand the range and we can leapfrog tanks. So perfect range for this would be like, if I'm going to siege a tank, that tank should siege like right here. That's perfect. It's like a good like 5 range in front of the other tank.
Our SCVs are under attack.
And that's exactly it right here. So watch this. And then if your opponent commits to it, because he only sees 1 tank. He doesn't see, well, I guess he can if he gets shot by the other one in the fog. But he sees 1 tank that looks like it's more exposed in the front. And if he decides to go for it, he's actually getting shot by multiple tanks. And stalkers take a shitload of damage from tanks. So as you can see, we, out of that trade, we took a great trade there. We lost that tank, we lost a couple of SCVs and like a Hellion, and he lost like 6 stalkers. So overall, overall we took a better trade than him. And in terms of economy, we're still keeping up pretty well with the Protoss. And then we confirm this by looking at this. This is, we confirm it now, guys. Like, is he going to just do a follow-up all-in now, or is he going to actually play a macro game? He's going to play a macro game. I went pretty fast there.
Command center upgrade.
Because we scout. Did he take a third? The answer is yes. And we also scout a nice, what looks like a pretty juicy mineral line. Like he has, if anyone ever has like multiple probes in the same patch and they're all kind of like clumped up like this, the mineral line is looking pretty juicy. It's looking pretty well saturated. So we know his third base is well saturated, but we know ours is about to be too. So the game is looking pretty even. We're not feeling too, we're not feeling like, oh my God, we're so far behind. This is very standard. Terran should always be behind because of Chrono Boost. Not mules, sorry. Probes should always be built faster than SCVs because of Chrono Boost. But Terran has mules, which catches you back up. Because even though, look at the economy now. Even though it looks like we're behind, look at it now. In 3, 2, 1, and we're going to be like 3,000 plus. So now we're fine. That's mules for you. And mules are good.
Additional supply.
Solid more. I am making a YouTube video right now, so I'm not gonna do everything. I know you've been drinking. I already read your comment before. I love you, man. But I'm not gonna alt tab and like watch videos and stuff.
Mineral field. Additional supply depots. Command center upgrade.
All right. So,
Add-on complete.
and by the way, I would have just ignored you and not said anything. But last time I did that, you got upset, so I gave you an answer.
Add-on complete. Mineral field depleted.
So yeah, again, anyways, it's we spotted, the third base. We felt good about it. We now scouted the 4th base, This is our fourth base. So we're one. This is the last time, the very last time we're gonna check on economy, and we see, you know, our fourth base is fully saturated. We see his fourth base is looking pretty well saturated, and that's fine. You know, that's cool stuff. The game is developed to a full-fledged macro game, and we know this. We know we're not behind because of the fact that we know we're not behind because of the fact that we're comparing his economy to our economy, but we also shouldn't feel like we're massively ahead because there hasn't been enough things that have happened this game yet that really would dictate that. This guy has had a steady pace of economy from what we've seen to put him in a spot that is not bad. The only thing he's lost really was those stalkers that he put in my main, and I would say that wasn't really enough. Like that was a good trade for us, but it wasn't enough to be like, oh, the game is ours. Damn, that's so good, because when we scouted his base, the one thing those stalkers did do, which was it kind of cancels it out. He kept me contained with those stalkers because my third base was so late to take the third. And he was on a fully saturated third pretty much by the time I then landed mine. So even though we caught up really fast, him having the third down longer than we did, and then him taking an inefficient trade kind of cancels themselves out. So it was fine. So again, nothing this game has happened that has made us feel like we're ahead or behind. It just feels like kind of even. It's what it should feel like. The only reason why we're ahead is because we're playing more efficient than our opponent. And that's literally it.
Upgrade.
So, well, really, honestly, I would say the reason why we're ahead is because of the static D. That is the only reason why. If he didn't have any of the static D, which is a lot of static D so far, and I know I tell you guys to do static D, so it's, again, in plat, it's okay. It helps deal with multitasking. You should really only make static D, though, when you're, like, on a slow, turtley army, and you are going to move out as well. Like, Broodlords would be a perfect example of that. But, yeah, it's okay for Platinum. Again, it's fine. But I think the static D is honestly probably why we have such a lead right now. Because it's expensive. And now we maxed. And now he's doing a timing with 8 Immortals and like 20 Stalkers, or 19 Stalkers. But the tanks do amazing here. The tanks do a really good job. Just kidding. The tanks really didn't do anything. I'm joking. For some reason I thought they did, but they were kind of like out of range. Well, it shows you how good Thors are. Thor's pretty good.
Research complete.
I wasn't watching the fight, and I thought the tanks were doing a lot of work there, but apparently they did nothing. They do work here, though. They do help a lot in this next fight. Look at this. So now the tanks siege here, they're a lot closer in range, and look at when the tanks start shooting shit, just watch all these units start dying. And this is while they're fighting next to shield batteries. Like, look at those tank shots. It just like wrecks the front line every time. Like every time these tanks shoot, you just see a lot of the Protoss units be like down to red, down to red. And then the Thors just like pop them off repeatedly.
Upgrade. Mineral field completed.
But yeah, at this point now, there's really not much more that needs to be said. All we do at this point is maintenance. We take more bases as we can. We make sure our mineral lines are not oversaturated. We keep making factories to expand our factory count to a total of like 16 or 20, somewhere in that range. We keep making command centers. We want to go up. We want to have like eight active orbital commands, at least. Like somewhere between like 8 and 10 active orbital commands with planetaries at like every base on our side of the map. And then if we can go even beyond that, maybe even start planting planetaries at his side and then drop all of our mules on his side of the map. Because think about it like this. Imagine if we had a planetary at every base. We have like 9 orbital commands, and we have another command center that's floating right here, and it just lands right now. And let's just say, for whatever reason, he had an army that was scary, and I was like remaxing. I lost my army, he took some damage, but I was remaxing, he was remaxing. And I land here, and my command center only lasts here for like 30 seconds. Because he moves from over here, and then he comes this way, and he kills my base. And I'm like, well, I just lost my command center I just landed here, but it also had about 25 mules mining minerals here. And then I steal like 7,000 minerals off this base. Like that's 7,000 minerals that if this game goes into a full stalemate that he's never going to get if we split this map entirely and we both have to mine our sides out because we keep resetting it over and over and over. He'll never get it back. So if you ever can, that's why I always tell you guys, like mule dump the crap out of brand new bases every time rather than doing bases you own already. That way you just, the bases that are more exposed and harder to defend, those bases are the ones that mine out faster. And then your SCVs can last longer mining bases that are safer and easier to defend, in which it just makes your mining stay consistent the entire time. So you don't have to rotate SCVs way to the open and be like, oh god, that base is getting killed, and now also so are 20 SCVs at the base. That sucks. Really, the only thing you really want to be mining that much at new bases is gas, because gas is very crucial for like mech style armies and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the game's kind of, you know, the rest of it's kind of very straightforward. We just keep the pressure on. We keep maintaining our base like we just said, and we just keep attacking his new expansions over and over and over, and he just dies. Whoops. And this is the next fight. Well, this is the last fight of the game. The last fight of the game. And you can just see how good Thors are. There are no more tanks in our army. This is pure Thor. And they are on A move. I'm not microing at all. This is not even the greatest location to attack with Thors, because my Thors are stuck in the back a little bit. Not even getting the best trades. So we have a bad concave. But Thors are pretty good. Obviously we have a nice healthy supply the whole time. But Thors are pretty damn good, guys. And then the game's kind of just over. Nice. GG. Thors are OP. Thors, I will say this right now. Thors are the best A-moving unit in the entire game. Every single race included in that assumption, or that idea. Summarization. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, man? Do you know what I'm saying, man? Wouldn't carriers be better at A-moving? I'm telling you right now, if Thors and carriers A-moved each other, Thors would win. What's a Thors supply? 6. Thors would win. Yeah, Thors would totally win. High impact payload, one-shots an interceptor. So if I have like 20 Thors one-shotting one interceptor every like 1 second, or every like 0.9 seconds or whatever it is. Oops, shit, this is bad. Just take my word for it, trust me. Trust. Thors would win.
Additional supply depots required.
Now obviously I'm not saying Thors would win against every single unit in the game. I'm not saying that. There are certain things that would counter Thors. But when it comes to consistency and versatility, Thors are the best at that. They have the most well-rounded versatility out of everything in the game for A-move. They're the best against the most, all the diverse compositions altogether. But if I had like max lurkers and someone had like max Thors, like lurkers would probably win. Same thing with immortals. Etc, 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 etc. But think about like air units. Both immortals and lurkers can't hit air. Thors can hit air. Thors are just versatile as hell. Siege tanks would be another one. Siege tank is probably the most obvious one. If I had max siege tanks versus max Thors, max siege tanks would win, as if the Thors were walking into the siege mode. But again, tanks can't hit air. Thors are versatile. There's nothing better than them at versatility. Being able to handle multiple like jobs. All right, guys, take my word for it. Good God, I'm getting like a ton of questions repeatedly. What about this unit? What about this unit? No. Okay, answers are done. Holy crap, chat. I can answer every unit in the game over the next 20 minutes. Okay, it is a Zerg player. I'm just gonna send my SCV back.
Got something for meeting. What's going on? SCV ready.
He's got his gas. Okay, he's got one SCV mining, or one drone mining gas. He does have speed. He has mined 200 gas already. He is making 6 lings. But nothing's too crazy yet. I don't really feel that scared yet. He's got a third. That's even better. I like that he has a third. Makes me feel safer. Makes me, like, he still could all in, but the fact that he's going for a third makes it seem like it's going to be less of a power all in. Like, lack of gas and third means it's not going to be like this big roach push like we dealt with the other game.
Insufficient Vespene gas. Insufficient Vespene gas.
SCV ready.
Command center upgrade complete.
Yep.
Not enough energy.
Got something for me to kill.
Let's kill our creep tumor. That's opportunity right there. If you ever can do that, do what I just did. Throw a grenade at the queen and the creep tumor because it does damage to both of them and it pushes the queen away from your reaper, and then just auto attack the creep tumor. A Zerg cannot cancel creep tumors, so okay, run home. If reaper dies, it dies. It's fine either way. But killing a creep tumor is nice because that's just a waste of time for Zerg. Zerg definitely wants to get active creep tumors out as fast as possible. Okay, my reaper died.
Raise some hell. SCV ready.
Not enough
And
energy.
the next time we have a little bit of money extra, let's go ahead and
Your dime.
start a third command center.
SCV ready.
Not
So we're
enough-
trying to just stay
not
efficient here.
enough energy.
Stay efficient.
SCV ready.
Let's go and put a tank on the high ground.
SCV ready. Absolutely.
And let's go ahead and send a Hellion over. Not to kill drones, but instead to scout what's going on.
Not enough minerals.
So we're just going to try and run into his base and see what's happening. And we can start making a armory and a engineering bay. Okay, so we see roaches. Oh my god, and ravagers. Okay, we're getting all in, guys.
Not enough minerals.
That is a nice fat all in coming. So let's go ahead and get another factory now.
Waiting on you. Ready to raise.
Just keep making units. Don't stop making units. Let's also start making depots behind my wall, because we should expect my wall to die right now. Like, it's going to die. He's going to kill my wall. It's very likely going to happen.
Ready to roll out.
And notice how we're also not putting our tanks against the depot wall. We're leaving them back a little bit. Make our Hellions and Hellbats. That was a nice little snipe off by him. We can repair those 2 depots.
Command center upgrade.
Okay, now here's what we should do. You know how to tell if you're still going to go in or not?
SCV ready.
Scan his third base. We're still getting all in, so we're not gonna. We don't have time to make another command center. Let's make
Base
another
is
factory.
under attack. Add-on complete.
SCV ready. I'm in a heap of trouble.
Okay, run my hands away. This guy's actually done a good job of killing all my tanks.
And done. Hell yeah. SCV ready.
Okay, pull my SCVs. Let's raise our depots. Send our SCVs away
Mineral field.
because now he's kind of trapped himself.
Base is under
Just keep making units, guys.
Hell that. Coming through. Getting fired up here, boss.
Pull my SCVs again. Might as well help him again.
Ready to roll out.
Okay, run them away. So now, again, it's just, we would make like another tech lab over here and start making like 3 tanks at a time because we're getting all in.
Need something load up.
So we can talk about this. We can talk about this. Killing that creep tumor pushed him over the edge. Yo, R Frosty, thank you for the 3-month resub. J Mac, thank you for the Prime. Welcome to the VFam, dude. And Ghost Rogue, thank you for the 38 months. If I didn't say so already, boys, thank you for the subs. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Much love. Much love. Okay, guys, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. So I did want to scout. I should have scouted. That was too early. What you want to do is you want to scout with this SCV. Number 16. You want to scout with this guy. Like as soon as you start the barracks, the next SCV that's built is the one you want to scout with. Because it doesn't disrupt your economy at all. Like you're able to still take your gas well timed with your barracks this way. And everything is all hunky-dory for Terran if you scout like that. And then you get a good enough scout early where it tells you everything that's going on anyways, no matter what race you're against. So we kind of missed that scout. And we went way later. I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about something. But yeah, the scouting was missed. So we scout really late.
Command center upgrade complete.
And I still do think, here's a big tip for you guys. Every single Terran out there, okay? If you do what I did this game, where you miss your optimal scouting time, and now you're basically sending an SCV out at pretty much the same time your Reaper is there. This is still good, and here's why. Your Reaper should stay kind of around your base. Like I'm even moving it too far right now. The Reaper should stay like right about here, or maybe even like right there, until my SCV confirms that he expanded. Because if I move out with my Reaper and I'm expanding and Zerglings come over here and smack my SCV while I'm building a command center, you can literally deny, the Zerg can deny production on this, or possibly even deny the entire command center. The Reaper can stop that from happening, but you really want to know if the Zerg expanded or if he went like pool really early. And this guy expanded, so it was fine. So we're just, you know, we scouted 3 bases. This looks standard. It's not, again, with Zerg, it's not always guaranteed. It looks standard. He kills our Reaper, so now we can't see anything. Which is why, if he kills the Reaper, it's kind of a nice idea to throw another scout out there at one point in time. We would have loved to have the Reaper do it, but we do it with the Hellion because we're like, we don't really know what's happening. Again, so far this build, we've gone factory, command center. If I would have caught wind that there was an all-in earlier than I did now, I would have made a 3rd factory before a command center, which would have made us defend this way easier. But this guy killed my scout, so we're using another unit to scout. Again, in Platinum, I think this is proper, because I don't think you should be over there trying to kill drones and stuff. I think you should just use it to scout. Once we get to Diamond League, we will actually go kill drones and stuff and kill Zerglings. We will actually micro in Diamond. And the overall reason why I say this is important to only do 1 Hellion at a time in Platinum or anything below Platinum is because I really think if you had all your Hellions over here right now, if you had all 6 Hellions attacking right now, you just would not keep up with the timings. You wouldn't be producing anything. You'd be supply blocking. Your SCV count would stop. You wouldn't be making your gases. Your depot wall would be at like 2 instead of going into 5. All these things would start suffering really hard because you'd be distracting yourself way too much, being like, I gotta kill the drones. I gotta kill the drones. And then if you make one micro mistake, suddenly you're just like, I didn't macro and now I'm just gonna die. So yeah, like macroing is huge. And then we see Ravagers, we see Roaches, we see Zerglings. This is super all in. That's very obviously an all in. That's a big army. And again, guys, if we're comparing, okay? I get over there. Let's pause it right when I get here. We're comparing his army supply to mine. And I see Roaches, Ravagers, Zerglings. I'm just going to throw it out there. This army size right here, right now, if you had to guess, okay? Just quickly looking at this going, holy crap, how much army supply is that? If you had to guess, I would say a nice overall guess for army size of this would be around 20. Yeah, so what one guy in chat just said. I don't know how to spiel. It's around 20. Because here's how much supply these units are. And let's get the exacts, okay? We got 7 Zerglings. That's 3.5 supply. But if it's a 0.5, it doesn't count 0.5, it just rounds up. So this is 4 supply. You got 5 or 6 Roaches. This is 12 supply. That puts us now at what did I say? It was 4 supply and 12, so it's 16. And then you have 3 Ravagers, which is 9. So this is actually 25 supply. This whole army we see right now is 25 supply. This is a big army. This is a lot of fucking supply dedicated on this. But again, guys, I'd never said you had to be perfect. It's ballparking it. Ravagers are 3. It takes off a roach and adds 1 more supply to make a Ravager. So this is huge. This is a lot of army supply. And if we're comparing his army supply to ours, what do we have? We have 1 tank and 6 Hellions. 6 Hellions is 12 supply, and a tank is 3 supply, so that's 15. So we just know, not only is for just like amount of stuff already for Zerg, this dude is probably going pretty hard in the all-in department by just sheer his units versus my units so far. Second thing, which someone said in chat, which I liked a lot, it was Hurdler. Look at the mineral line. Let's compare that one now. This is another thing to look at. He's got 3 drones on the mineral line, and let's look at our natural. It's almost fully saturated. That's a big tell as well. You're like, okay, this guy has not been making units. Who knows what else is up this cliff? I don't know. Who knows what else is over here? This dude has 3 drones. That's not. He has no economy. Like, this guy needs to kill me, or he's dead. And then the last thing as well, the very last thing, is costs. If you guys don't know this, each Ravager costs 100 gas, and we can clearly see he's already spent at least 300 gas on these Ravagers, and he spent another 150 gas on these roaches, because each one of these roaches is 25. So this is a ton of resources already dedicated into this. So basically, anyone who does shit like this, they're gonna all in you. This is really early. So we throw down another factory as an immediate reaction to be like, as soon as we can afford it, to be like, well, yeah, we're getting all in. Let's just not panic. Let's just do something that makes sense. We're not going to just cancel the command center and be like, throw down 3 factories and see what happens. We're going to expect to lose some SCVs in this. It's very likely, because there's a good chance we're going to have to pull SCVs at some point. This 3rd command center is going to help us recover from that faster, because we're going to be able to make SCVs quicker again, and we'll also be able to have mules to also fill in the missing economy. We're going to throw down another factory. We're not going to go crazy on it, because we don't want to stop producing off of what we already have. So 1 more factory right now is basically going to mean that I can afford to make another factory right now when produce off of what I have, but it's going to make my economy get stuck a little bit longer, so I won't be able to take as fast of a 4th command center. Because normally, if you guys have been following the builds in terms of how efficiency always goes, we usually keep making this SCV just build another command center, then build another command center, then build another command center. And we clearly don't want to be doing that if we're getting all in. So we are, yeah, we're doing this. And then someone just asked, does a tank do better than a Thor for all-ins? And the answer to that is yes. And the reason why is because we don't rush Thors out. We don't, like, the factory cannot build a Thor the second it's done. You have to build an armory, and we don't build an armory until around like the 3rd tank usually. And the reason why that is because if we were to have built the factory early on, we wouldn't have enough money to stabilize production out of our factories. It's too much gas to just throw down the army right away. Like, we wouldn't be able to build tanks as well then. So usually what happens as well with the timing of how this goes is our armory kind of goes down around the same time as our gas goes down at our natural. So the cost of the armory gets nullified by having extra gas income and just more income in general. So now we can still produce while also teching into getting ready to go Thors. I would have, if this game did not go into, like, if we didn't win off the defense, I still would have made Thors, but I would have made Thors probably off of like 5 tanks this game, because he was going for this big fat all-in of just Roach Ravager Zergling.
Ready to raise some hell. SCV ready. Fueled up, ready to go.
And this is why, look at this, guys. Look at tank positioning. This is why I tell you, don't put your tanks against the wall. Put them a little bit further back. Tanks on the high ground is okay, especially if you have something that can kill the Overlord, because then he'll never be able to corrosive bile the high ground, unless he has the Overlord like way out here. But even then, if he had like a Viking or something that could kill air, you could also prevent that from happening. But look at this, okay? Just look at this. He commits his army into the wall to get a corrosive bile on this tank. He's gonna kill this tank. But when he does it, look how many times he gets shot by my tanks. So far, he got shot once by the tank on the high ground. That's 2, 3, 4. Each tank shot another time. 5, 6, 7. He just got shot 7 times by my tanks. 8, 9, 10. He just got shot 10 times by my tanks to corrosive bile 1 tank out. That is, I'm not going to lie, guys. That's a good fucking trade for Terran. Look at how much we just smashed of his army. We killed all the Lings, and we just popped a couple of his Ravagers, and a couple of his other units are literally on the verge of death as well. So that was like just because of positioning. If the tanks were like right there in the front, we wouldn't get nearly as many shots off, because it would be, you know, he wouldn't have to commit as hard. Because you also have to consider, I have nothing giving vision out here if my tanks were in the front, so I couldn't even shoot max range anyways. So it's kind of silly to have my tanks in the front. And then on top of that, he doesn't get optimal. If I was planted in the front, his roaches would get optimal corrosive biles where they could all corrosive bile at the same time because it's wide open. But when he has to corrosive bile the tank over here, he literally can only corrosive bile from like the edge of the door. So if he has a Ravager standing right there where the green box is now, it has to swap with the Ravagers in the front of it, which causes more of a clusterfuck. It's more time invested in standing in front of my wall, which makes me shoot him more with tanks. He has to swap his Ravagers, so the one that shot in the front needs to swap with the one in the back, and the one in the back needs to swap in the one in the front to now shoot as well. And it just makes more of a waste of time for the Zerg, to where we're still getting nice trades, and suddenly the Zerg is getting kind of just smashed by that. So that was nice for us. We shot him a lot. And now he's just making more Ravagers. He's flooding me with more Lings and Roaches. And now we're making a tech lab, and we're still just producing tank Hellion. And now he corrosive biles another tank. You see, that's high ground vision. That, you know. As soon as I saw the overlords in the high ground, it might have been a good idea to move this tank back a little bit to maybe like right there or something. Or like on the edge of the depot there, so I don't block it off. But now the tank is in a safe spot. That's a lot harder to deal with. But whatever. But again, that might happen to you, and even if that does happen, it's not the end of the world. We're just focusing on building tanks. And you can see my resources, now that my natural is fully saturated, resources are going to get a little bit higher, so we throw down another factory. Because we're not going to keep making command centers right now. We know we're getting all in, so we're just going to, every time we get a bit of excess money while this all in is still happening, we'll just commit a little bit more to units. And there goes my last tank. Now, since all my tanks are dead, there's no reason to have my Hellbats in the front anymore. This doesn't make any sense to have them here. I do not want them in Hellion mode because they're going to do basically nothing to these Roaches and Ravagers. They seriously don't do anything in Hellion mode. They're like tickling the Roaches at that point. They're great against Zerglings in Hellion mode, but they're terrible against anything that's not light. So we back up. I am now okay with letting my wall die. I don't mind if he walks into my base, and this tank is also going to be kind of like bait for him to walk into my base, because if he doesn't, I'm going to shoot him with the tank. And you can see, look at my supply too. Remember this too? We made more depots behind because we were expecting our wall to die. It was expected. So I wasn't sitting here with like a 20 supply or like a 10 supply cushion. I have like a 40 or a 50 supply cushion because we have extra depots in the back. So we have lots of supply because we're expecting this to die, which will then create like a 20 supply cushion. And as soon as he walks into our base, now Hellbats are going to get in melee range, and they're going to start smashing the Roaches, because now he's walking into my SimCity. And as soon as he commits to my base like this, now we can pull SCVs. Because the Roaches don't have any way to leave my base now. Like, they're kind of stuck in my base at this point. And we just not uproot, but raise the depot so he's trapped. And now he can't go anywhere. And if these Ravagers and Roaches all die, the all-in's kind of over. And now, the SCVs can't really help here, so we sent them back to go mine. There's the only reason why we sent them back to go mine. They were just standing there doing nothing, because the Hellions are now doing everything. But as soon as he starts sending more stuff into my base, we're like, oh, let's pull the SCVs again. Just help on the low ground again. So we pull SCVs and have them help the low ground. And now, once again, it doesn't matter. We still have a couple Hellbats. There's not really much stuff left. We're still making tanks and Hellbats in our base. We're still making SCVs the whole time. So again, even though we just lost, we didn't even lose that many. We only lost 5 SCVs there. The worker count now in total is 45 to 24. We're almost, we are, as soon as these next 3 SCVs finish, he doesn't have any drones in production. We're going to be doubling his worker count as soon as those guys are done. And then now we can just, you know, now we're making tanks 2 at a time, soon to be 3 at a time. And we can just keep planting our tanks around. And that, again, this is something we talked about before. The scariest, and this was in a Zerg video, but now we'll talk about it in the Terran video. The scariest thing about a Zerg all-in is the initial push. Because the initial push is not 1 round of inject and then he runs across the map. The initial push, oh, Jesus. The initial push is like 3 or 4 rounds of inject that has been stocked up for like 2 minutes. And then he pushes with everything all at once. So the initial push is the most powerful. And we just cleaned up the initial push on the ramp when he kind of trapped himself. And then from that point on, our army supply is just going to start crushing his, because we're still producing. We are producing at a faster and faster and faster pace as the game goes on, because we're still making workers. But he is not. So his initial push, the only way he'll ever have an initial push again is if he sits there on his current production levels and he waits for like another 2 minutes and then tries to go for it again. But if he were to do that now at this point, when I have a great economy, his push would be like 80 supply, 70 supply, and my defense would be like 130 supply. I would just be like, well, now I have 3, 4 bases, and I just have so many units that you just die. So, yeah, it's kind of just how it goes. Again, the initial push is the hardest part to deal with. We dealt with it. We lost all our tanks in the process, but we just kept building stuff, and eventually we overpowered it. He kind of thinned out, and then we're producing at a faster pace than he is because we have more money. Oh, boys, that's a diamond Terran. I wasn't sure if that was going to promote us or not, but it did. We're diamond. How many drones did he have at his third? Like 3. He had like 3 at the natural and 3 at the third, and then he had like 19 in the main. Something like that. He literally only had like 24 workers or something. Boys, we made it to diamond. So now, in the next video, we're going to be doing a bit more micro-based builds. We're going to actually control our units more than just saying, siege your shit. A move. We'll start making control groups. We'll start doing lots of things. But micro will start actually happening. We will start microing the stuff. So thank you guys very much for watching Platinum 3 or Platinum 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helps you out a lot. I hope you guys improve as fast as you can. And subscribe if you like the videos. I'll see you guys in Diamond 3. Peace.